Hi, everybody. My name is Jeff Moriarty, and I have a very special guest today. We're doing a terminal leader chat with the terminal leader for Phoenix, Swift's biggest terminal. Stacie, say hi.
Hi. Hi. Good afternoon, everybody.
So, Stacie Marstella, thank you for joining me. I know you're incredibly busy with the Swift terminal, especially as things are opening up and you're sort of exerting your vision on the place, but taking time out to chat with your many fans and drivers that like to come through the terminal. So I appreciate that.
Thank you, sir. It's fun to be here.
All right. Well, let's start with a little bit about you. And actually, you know what? I lied. So where I want to start is telling people if you have questions for Stacie. I am the social media director for Swift. I am here really just to talk to Stacie. But if you have questions about any of that, the plans for Phoenix, things you've seen there, whatever, leave them on our Facebook page or on our YouTube channel, and we will get back to those and hopefully have a real discussion here as we go along. So, looking forward to hearing from you drivers. And back to you, Stacie. So tell us a little bit about yourself. Like how long have you been at Swift?
All right. So, if you want to not be technical, I started in the year 2000. So, it would be about 21 years. However, somewhere around 2003, I wound up having more kids than I probably had money for daycare. So, I took about a 4-year break to raise my small children. Once they all hit kindergarten, though, I was back in the action. So, really working wise about 15, 14 years, maybe 14 and a half, but then total it was about 21.
All right. And howdy to A476160048. That just rolls right off the tongue there, but I
Right,
appreciate
hello
you
there.
saying hello. Yeah. Yeah. Okay, so you started in 2000. Now, what was your role? Were you
Initially, I started short term in pricing. I was
okay?
quickly moved to a department that was called XCall, which no longer even exists, but it was a whole department in which folks submitted for lumper pay, and the department would pay for the lumpers and then get the drivers rolling. And so I was with that department probably for the better part of my first 2 years at Swift. We
Okay.
still use lumpers, but the department's no longer in existence.
Gotcha. All right. And then, so then what else? What other jobs have you had along the way? I assume you didn't go right from X call to 4-year hiatus to terminal leader.
Honestly, in my 20 years, if it was here to do, I probably volunteered to do it if I didn't do it by title. So I worked for ECT, and in ECT, I did customer service, I
Oh,
did
all right.
dispatch, I did planning, um, I did PODs. I essentially would volunteer for anything that had anything to do with drivers. So working in ECT, you have a lot of exposure to drivers who need help right now, especially at night.
Right. Yep.
And the best way to be able to help them and really get them what they need even at night was to be able to learn everything from permits to where to find documents to how to give fuel. So I spent a lot of time cross training and trying to learn everything I could so that this way when they called at night I could help them. So it kind of gave me a really well-rounded background in different departments and just enough to be dangerous, to be able to help and get everything done and not have to have a driver wait until the morning. After my time in ECT, I went to a weekend ECT position where I was kind of over most of the Phoenix ECT on weekends,
Okay.
Friday, Saturday, Sunday. So that would be planning, customer service. That was a ton of fun. From there, I took over the Phoenix planning. And
Wow. All right.
yeah, so we worked, had all of the Phoenix planning, the Phoenix market for all of line haul, which that was super fun. Then I moved to intermodal. So I worked for a short while as a director of operations in intermodal, which was a complete change.
So did you have a bingo card that you were trying to fill out as you were going across for all the jobs to make sure that you had them all?
You
Did you work?
know,
Did you work in the
honestly,
Jake Break Cafe at some point, or
if
no?
somebody needed food and I thought it would help me to be able to not have to rely on someone else, I probably would have learned how to go make a
All
cheeseburger.
right.
Now, my husband would probably tell you a different story, but but honestly, most of what I had done or would do had more about me wanting to be able to help in general and
Right.
not have to rely on other folks. So then through that, I just got a ton of experience with things. And then obviously when positions came open, I mean, I already knew
Okay.
parts of the job. So I would just move in and kind of learn something new.
All right. Now, what was your role right before becoming Phoenix TL?
So that was probably one of the biggest switch. My whole entire career, some way, shape, or form, I was very involved with drivers. It was very about who I was. I mean,
Mhm.
I loved dispatch, I loved DCT, I loved planning. But my most recent role, I actually took on, I went over and I was the general manager in pricing for all of the Southwest, which is a very different role. It's more based on data and Excel and not necessarily everyday interaction with drivers. It was more about pricing the freight that drivers haul,
Right, right.
understanding and being able to take my knowledge of what we do and how long it takes, and to be able to kind of optimize that with how we
Okay.
rate freight and bring freight into the house on the right freight that we need for the drivers. So it was the
But
most challenging role of them all because it was such a shift.
most challenging role so
Yeah.
far.
For me so
Okay.
far, yes.
But I think it's great that you have that range because I mean, as a TL, and we'll get into sort of what that means in a second. But you have, I mean, especially being an ECT, you understand the types of challenges that drivers are going to have on the day-to-day basis. What you need to do to make sure that their day goes smoothly. Because I view um, my job and pretty much everybody in the office as driver support. I mean, what we're doing is making sure that drivers can execute. They're the ones out there moving the product. So that gives you a lot of insight there, which I think is going to be incredibly valuable.
Well, and probably the
So
funnest part though too is like honestly in my 20 years I've been a part of lots of teams on improvement things where we do specific teams to try and improve certain issues. And I mean, super thankful, but I've been given the opportunity to be on multiple teams where, hey, we
right,
were put together to try and really kind of dig into an issue and be able to resolve it. And being able to have all of that interaction and all of those positions, I had views of almost every piece from an internal side so that I was able to kind of try and help and work through some of the problems that we have to try and hopefully what I thought and what others thought would be to better some of the processes we have.
excellent. Well, and I see you've already gotten some love. We had somebody, I think his name was Mark, who said he remembered X call. So you've got some veterans in there. Yeah, there we go. There we go. Mike remembers X call. And
Right?
we
I'll be
had
a
somebody,
flashback for a lot of folks.
yeah, and we had some comment from someone in our group. Unfortunately, the names don't always come through if you comment in our driver group, but you got a shout out there. Yeah, Phoenix is sort of the, you know, heart in a lot of ways for a lot of drivers. Even if they don't live here, they came through here at some point. They did their maybe DQP here or went to the academy here or whatever it is. So how do you view your role as a terminal leader? So I'm not looking for a job description, right? But what do you see as the main things that you are responsible for as a TL?
Without going into detail, honestly, it's about really making sure that drivers and office folks really have a place where they come, they feel like they're home, and
Okay.
that they're I mean, that it's a safe environment where they want to be.
I love that answer. And Brian, you're a rock star. Look at this. You're
Aw.
getting love right out the gate here. And I think there's a lot of technical stuff, and I'm sure with everything you've gone through that goes into making sure a terminal really hums and all the drivers get what they need and everything is working. But if it's not a place where people are excited to go, where drivers, if a driver's like, oh geez, I got to go through Phoenix, that's a huge problem right off the bat. And the rest of the stuff is can be worked out logistically or process wise. You can address that, but making it a place that people want to go, huge. Love that.
So 20, 21 years later, I still come to work every day with a smile on my face. I have a son who just recently graduated high school. Everything that he has ever had, every book, every meal has somehow been related to a Swift driver, especially for my family. Now, hey, everything that goes on most people's tables, somewhere along the line, had a driver attached to it. But like my experience, my kids, my family, everything we have is because of Swift. Like this is my home. This is and if I come to work every day because I feel good and smile, I want everybody else to feel like that also. That doesn't mean I don't have a bad day or anyone else shouldn't either, but it just means like, hey, for the most part, I want to create a place where people want to come, they want to be, and hey, they feel good about who they are, what they do, and that they realize that what they do is the reason why my son will be able to go to college. Like that is, it's hugely personal to me.
I think that's a fantastic answer. And I think it speaks to how important this role is to you personally, and not just as something you're coming to work to check off. Like this is something you care
Oh, yeah,
about
definitely
in
not.
our conversations, and I could see that now. Now, Kevin had a question. Again, I know terminal leaders are expected to do everything. So Kevin wants to know if you can turn the heat down for the summer.
Ha! I wish that was true. I wish I could. Now I can't do that. However, Kevin, we're here and there is air in the building. So so I can make Phoenix a little bit less miserable when you're here by coming to visit if you'd like. You could stay inside at least while you're not working. But if I could make it less hot here, well, then though really so many people would live here you wouldn't be able to move around because it's
There you
pretty
go.
beautiful. The only
See,
drawback is the heat.
see, terminal leaders, they got to take everything into account, Kevin. Everything, not just your the personal heat there. Oh, look at this. So we got Audrey chiming in here.
Aw, thank you, Audrey.
Yeah. So, and when we posted this and we said we were going to have this chat, we had so many people who reached out right away, and we're excited to talk to you, or we're excited. Oh, Stacie's a rock star. So, I mean, I think that already speaks volumes to who you are and what you're going to be doing here. So, other than the wonderful, wonderful warmth, why Phoenix? Like, why not Otay Mesa or one of our other, again, nothing against Otay Mesa, fabulous terminal, but why would you want a TL out here in Phoenix?
All right, so this terminal is where I literally learned everything. I mean, this is from the ground up. And hey, there is some truth that it is very fun that you get to be, talk to, and constantly be around drivers from terminals all over the country. So it is unique in the fact that um, for me, it's very personal. Like I said, I mean, I have memory upon memory of everything in this terminal. And hey, when I first started here, I looked at the terminal leader in awe. Like, hey, that's just ultimately how fun would that be to be able to help everyone and coordinate everything and be able to be a part of making such a great place for drivers. But I mean, there is also the side benefit of a lot of drivers, a lot of our very elite drivers, a lot of our drivers who have been here a long time come here
Right.
to get awards and trucks. And so being here, I get to be a part of that, get to meet them, get to meet people from all over the country, I mean, lots of those folks will come here to join us for teams and for safety things. And it has a ton of just a fun vibe of being able to see. Not every driver will go to Otay Mesa in their career, but it's likely that almost every driver, even possibly dedicated, will come through the Phoenix terminal. And
Well,
it's just fun.
the lucky ones will go to Otay Mesa because Tim's great out there. It's a great team out there. So Tim, if you're watching, I don't want you to be this guy.
Yes, but
So
lots of
no
folks will
shade
have
at
to
Otay
be
Mesa.
here for no, it's not about shade. It's just lots of folks will have to come here for a truck or for
Yep.
something, for some reason in their career. And even our internal employees, like here in Phoenix, we have folks who come from all over, and you get to meet folks from our office staff from all over the country, just being here in Phoenix. So it's my
Awesome.
home.
So, and I know we've got some questions coming in specifically for you about Phoenix. So keep those coming, and we'll kind of get to some of those at the end, unless they sort of fit in here. Here's a big shock. We've already got one about trailers.
No.
So I know, right? Who could have foreseen this? Okay, so what are your plans for the Phoenix terminal? Like, what are the biggest things? Again, not, I mean, maybe it's a very tactical, physical, thing, but what, in general, what is your goal here for
So
Phoenix?
first and foremost would probably to help keep putting pressure on completing our remodel. So most of the folks who have been here realize that we're under construction, which, hey, a lot of folks are. There's a ton of money being put into our new facility, and I'm super excited about it. We've struggled a little bit because, as most folks know, getting products have been slower than it was in the past. So really trying to push and make sure that, hey, we get that completed as quickly as possible so that our drivers have such a great place and such a new, I think it's really exciting. Like what's happening over there is really exciting. So to try and get that done and completed, we have incredible folks here at the terminal. For anybody who hasn't been here, I mean, we have two amazing fleet leaders. We have a staff full of very amazing driver leaders. Really just trying to get the team surrounded around, making sure that all of us, create a place where, hey, like I said, I mean, not like the bar atmosphere, but much like Cheers, where when people walk in, they don't feel like a number. They feel like this is their home. I want them to feel how I feel when they come in here.
And what is the timeline on the remodel? Where are we with that as of, what day is it here? May 28th when we're recording this.
So currently, the end of September I mean, we were hoping for the end of August. It looks like we're probably more towards the ends of September, but we're still waiting for some updates on some information there. So, but it's coming quick. I mean, it's moving. It's moving along for sure. And there's some great folks and facilities who have put a lot of emphasis and energy into trying to make sure that, hey, once one thing is delayed, that, hey, everything behind it is working, and that they're ready to go once whatever it is that's needed comes in. So
Excellent. And then I, from the little bit I've seen, it looks fantastic. So
it's
is
going to
there?
be pretty exciting.
All right. Okay. Is there
Definitely
any?
a change. I mean, that building was 20 something years old. It definitely needed a remodel. However, this I would probably say is far beyond what you would call your average remodel. So it will be
All
super fun.
right. Well, we're
Yeah.
gonna have to bring you back and do a tour once this is all done.
Yeah, that would be
So,
amazing.
all right. Well, one of the nice things about this tool is we can go live. We tend to be doing them from our desks, but I want to get back out in the yard and show stuff like that. So, what can drivers do to help?
Come in. I mean, I'm not so sure if this is normal or if it's Corona because, hey, I've been out of the loop and out of the interface with drivers. But I mean, we for sure still are not seeing a ton of foot traffic, at least. And I know, hey, there's safety reasons, and I don't want anyone to do anything or feel unsafe. But as things loosen up, I mean, drivers from all over, not just the Phoenix drivers, but just drivers in general, come in, introduce yourself, share what we're doing right, share what we're doing wrong, what can we help with. We see a ton of folks who will share information, but I'd love to hear it and how we can change. Like I'm for sure one of those folks who I love transparency. Nobody gets better unless you share it. And even if you think it hurts somebody's feelings, like come tell me so that we can all work out and figure out how to help and what to do.
Well, in talking to you, that comes across as something that's very important to you to really to make that personal connection and to hear from people, drivers if they see something wrong, and this is something I run. We got our Facebook group for drivers and so on, and if you're if you're a Swift driver, we've got the group address below there. Make sure you hop in. But I see drivers post stuff there, and sometimes their DL, their TL hasn't ever heard about it. And I know you're somebody who wants to hear about it. You want to hear from drivers so you can respond to their feedback.
Well, I for sure want everyone to know that, hey, I mean, some of the things that we have to do because of our size are complicated to fix, but I don't want anyone feeling like, hey, no one doesn't hear the issue. And I even with people, I mean, the more you can share, the quicker you can resolve something. I want people to know that, hey, I for sure do care. And anything that I can do to try and help, along with anyone on our team, to try and make something easier or better or faster. Sometimes the result isn't immediate, unfortunately, but hey, if we can bring it up and we can fix it, it's just one thing less that anyone has to worry about while they're out on the road. And that's what we want. We want drivers who are not worried about things that are going on
Right.
in the background while they're trying to do what they're supposed to be doing. Like we want them to be clear, free of issues. And that's why, like I said, when you share that and you come in and you talk about it, then it gives us information to be able to go and talk to the right people and try and make the right changes.
All right. So I appreciate all this. Let's try to hit a few questions if you're game.
Sure.
So let's see. So we had one about why is it so hard to get an empty trailer here at Phoenix?
So, and I guess maybe I'd need some more information on specifically like the lockdown process, the process to get it assigned, what specifically we're trying to fix. So we do have processes that I mean do account for the equipment so that this way, hey, not everyone is just driving off with a trailer because I mean, obviously equipment's not always as plentiful when we have loads, but I mean, we shouldn't be having issues getting trailers unless it's something specific.
Okay. Um, well, here's a comment from Kevin. Anything will be better than the showers that were there in Phoenix.
I don't know that I could or anyone would argue that point. I will tell you though, when we are open, you will be pleasantly surprised.
All right, Kevin, that sounds like you're going to need to stop in and do a personal review of the showers at the Phoenix terminal to make
But
sure they
Kevin is not the first person to have said that, and for sure, I think that the changes will be very welcomed for sure.
excellent. Okay. Now this is an interesting one because I'm not sure it's entirely really in your wheelhouse, but I think it speaks to something that you touched on. It's a question from Robert. And he said we need to come up with a different system when they call in because the first thing they are asked is their truck or driver number, and they should be asked for their name, being greeted, and so on, for they are.
I couldn't agree more.
Yeah.
I for sure, and I for sure believe that, hey, that's especially, I mean, when you're here and this is your home and
Right.
these are your folks. I mean, not only, I mean, I'd love it to where we got to a point where, hey, you didn't even have to say what your name is. We know who you are just by the sound of your voice, right? But definitely we will work as a team to try and make sure that, hey, at least our team isn't asking anyone for a truck number. That's not what we want for sure. And it's
Yeah.
not how we feel. So it doesn't reflect how we feel. And we want to make sure that, hey, we're sharing how we truly feel by our
Yeah.
actions, not just
That
words.
yeah, that doesn't seem to be the kind of culture that you're looking to build here. And I think to be 100% fair, there's a certain need to get the driver code or information because you have to make sure you're talking to the right person, especially if
Sure.
you're there's a lot of people with similar names, and if you're calling ECT, they're going to have a harder time knowing who everybody is just
Mhm.
by your voice or name. But again, if the sort of cheers vibe you're going for here in Phoenix, I think is going to be great. Now, watch, we're gonna have drivers requesting a bar. Don't. It's not going to happen.
More
So
the
cheers.
vibe, more the vibe.
Yes, vibe, not taps though.
But and hey, that I mean, again, I mean, for sure, if when I call in, I would like somebody to say, "Hey, how you doing?" and at least acknowledge who I am before, "Hey, you're right." I mean, we want to make sure that we're giving the right information to the right folks, and that's super important. But it doesn't have to be, "Hey, what's your truck number?" And that
I
was
agree.
kind of an old school thing, even when I was in ECT. Most of the folks who know me will know that, hey, that wasn't something that you'd ever hear me answer the phone with.
Okay. Now I'm going to go back to a question that Mac asked kind of early on, and I think you touched on it a bit already. And that's, as a terminal leader, what are your objectives and goals for the Swift family?
For the Swift Phoenix terminal?
Take that however you want. Maybe it's
Alright.
Phoenix, or maybe just where do you see Swift going in general? What do you want to do to contribute to Swift?
Okay, so there's a ton of things going on with Swift in general. I mean, with our new drivers and rehires and guaranteed pay for really understanding, hey, what shippers are good to our drivers and which aren't, and making sure that, hey, we're doing the right business with the right folks that support our mentality when it comes to drivers. Really with the remodel and everything that's going on there. And then internally with really creating a culture here in Phoenix where folks want to be. Truthfully, the biggest goal would be built around safety. I'm kind of a mom, right? And not just at home. I'm a mom pretty much throughout Swift. I mean, there's other folks here who are my age who call me Mama Stacie, and it's because I really do care, and I don't want a phone call at any point, any day, any night on someone who's injured or something that happened. So a ton of emphasis around making sure that, hey, our drivers are safe on the road, they have what they need, their minds are clear, they're in the right space, really understanding and having a relationship with your driver so you know
Right.
when he is in the right space to be safe. After making sure that we have the right safety culture would be about making sure that, hey, driver pay is where it needs to be. I also don't want any driver worried when he's on the road about how someone's going to pay bills at home. So just really working through some of those to make sure that, hey, we have the right folks and building the right relationships and making sure that we're successful as a terminal and as a business, but that we're successful with a group of folks who are really proud of being part of that success, from the driver to the person who cleans the office at night. I mean, I want everyone to feel like they're part of this home.
That is a fantastic attitude to have, and I think one that is going to serve the Phoenix terminal well. It sounds like it is in very, very good hands.
Aw, thank you.
And I appreciate you joining me for this. We have a few other questions in there, but a lot of them are just sort of general ones for Swift. So we'll try to answer some of those afterwards, but we'll wrap up here. Any last parting words of wisdom? Want to invite drivers to stop
Yeah.
by and say hi when they're there?
For sure. Anyone who gets to see this, I would love to get a chance to meet you. So if you're here at the Phoenix terminal, please, I mean, like, come introduce yourself, stop by, come say hello. You don't have to be a Phoenix driver to come make yourself and kind of let me know where you are, where you've been. I mean, tell me how things have been. I would love to meet you. Come visit us, come see us, come be part and see what we're doing. Come ask questions and come help if you have info or input. Obviously, I mean, come share it with me. I would love that.
All right. Well, Stacie, thank you very much. And thank you, everybody who tuned in, and have a fantastic day. Be safe out
Thanks for
there,
your
drivers.
time, guys. Appreciate it.